Welcome to Da'ai Headlines. I'm Anthony Carlisle. Thank you for joining us. Coming up in today's show, distributions to storm victims in the Philippines begin despite delays and an increase in the estimated number of people in need. We continue our series of reports from North Korea with a rare visit to a village to meet some of the recipients of Tzu Chi's winter aid. And Tzu Chi's winter distributions in China pick up the pace as volunteers deliver aid into the hands of villagers, making lasting friendships along the way. We start today in the Philippines, where in Mindanao, volunteers started relief distributions in the storm-hit cities of Cagayan de Oro and Iligan on Wednesday. Due to the extensive destruction caused by Typhoon Washi, the estimated number of people in need of help has dramatically increased. That need was compounded by a delay in the arrival of supplies, which forced volunteers to make changes in their distribution plans. Before the handout began, the volunteers also visited some temporary shelters to pass vouchers to victims. If there is a stamp on your voucher, you will surely receive our supplies.
At a school on the Philippines, Mindanao, that has been turned into a temporary shelter, Tzu Chi volunteers explain the coming distributions to displaced victims of Typhoon Washi housed there. A list provided by the Social Welfare Department details every family's situation, but they are all just disaster victims to Tzu Chi.
All of our supplies are on their way. As long as there are people in need, we will personally hand them the supplies. We hope to interact with them face to face.
Tzu Chi's large-scale distributions will begin soon. Volunteers go over their plans to make sure they have enough supplies for every person in need, and hope that those on the receiving end will be empowered to reciprocate one day. The unexpected always seems to happen, regardless of volunteers' thorough preparation. A community which initially had 500 people in need suddenly surges to 2,000. As always, volunteers use their wisdom to solve the problem.
Our first challenge is to confirm all those truly in need of assistance in this area. Second, if that number truly exceeds our expectation, we will need to come up with a new plan.
We asked one disaster victim to take us back to their home, only to discover the whole area is surrounded by mud. Moving about is nearly impossible.
The trip that would normally take 1 short minute now takes more than 10.
They say they are slowly cleaning up their homes.
Arriving at the home of a flood victim, all furniture is in ruins. Though they have lost all their belongings to the storm, what they care about the most is their children's education.
She says her children have lost all their clothes. They don't even have something clean to wear when they go to school.
The large tree in front of the house helps save the mother and her family of 7. Though they have been feverish for the last 3 days, they still consider themselves lucky compared to those without a home. The family knows that as long as there is hope, they can rebuild.
To give families in Mindanao hope, Tzu Chi volunteers in the Philippines are raising money in whichever way they can. In Metro Manila, Tzu Chi sang Christmas carols at a fundraiser at Quezon City Sports Club, and other volunteers hit the streets to collect money from passers-by.
Cagayan, Iligan, Nasindong, Tzu Chi, Philippines, tutulong. Para po sa Typhoon Sindong. Salamat, thank you very much. We appreciate that. Salamat po.
In the Philippines, Tzu Chi volunteers canvass for donations in many languages.
Nasalanta.
Salamat po,
Kahit
kuya.
konti lang po. Paabot natin ng
Thank you
pagmamahal. Concern, salamat po. Tosya, wow!
In this multicultural country, love has no need for translation. Passers-by, including policemen, stop to give what they can.
Thank you, Mr. Policeman.
Though many people who pass by are unwilling to participate, volunteers still bow to them and say thank you, wanting to do something for the victims of Typhoon Washi. Many in Manila have come out to do their part.
Thank you very much.
I am also from the south, so I want to do something for those back home. Though I cannot go back, I can make some donations since I'm working here in Manila.
A doctor has closed down his clinic to come help canvassing for love, and the father-daughter pair are also here to take part.
Really trust Tzu Chi Foundation would
strictly go to the victim family. That's why I involved to help people, help street donation.
Actually, asked my dad if there's anything I can do to help, I would help. It is important to share your love, your compassion, your talent to people who are in need.
Not far away in Quezon City, this group of young children does not want to be left out. Singing Christmas carols to spread some holiday joy, they learn the meaning of Christmas.
Fulfilling po ito kasi
We are realizing the true meaning of Christmas because we are able to help the typhoon victims.
Yun po.
Christmas is about love and about sharing. This disaster happening in so close to the Christmas season, it's really very unfortunate. We are glad that Tzu Chi came and give us, our people and our staff, a chance to share.
Be it raising money by singing or canvassing for donations on the streets, volunteers are determined to deliver human warmth to the disaster area.
Tzu Chi's relief work program was first implemented in disaster areas of Manila, which were hit by Typhoon Katsana in 2009. In the scheme, residents were paid to clean up their neighbourhoods. After successfully reproducing the program in Hunsa village of Bangkok, volunteers in Thailand introduced the program to the Kalahome community.
In Thailand's Nakhon Pathom province, floodwaters have long receded in Kalahome. Busy cleaning their own homes, residents are powerless, however, when it comes to the debris on the streets.
คนไทยรับคนไทยคนไทยช่วยคนไทยตลอด
To help, Tzu Chi volunteers are here to implement their relief work program. 166 residents signed up and split into 12 smaller teams. The local government also brought heavy equipment to help with the work, and slowly the community returns to its former self.
I'm very glad to be able to take part in this event. Many people from the community came out to help return our neighborhood back to normal.
Volunteers also take time to introduce the spirit of Tzu Chi's bamboo coin banks and Tzu Chi's environmental mission, which residents gladly respond to by making donations and signing up.
Let's work together to help protect our community. Let's all commit to charity work to help make Thailand better.
Thanks to Tzu Chi, Kalahome is clean once again. As normalcy returns, residents are also ready to embrace a new way of life.
After experiencing the full force of nature, residents of the Hunsa neighbourhood of Bangkok are also ready to embrace recycling. Having survived one of the worst floods ever to hit the nation, the residents fully understand how the climate is changing due to global warming.
After surviving the recent floods, I think everyone has come together and wants to do what they can for the planet.
In Bangkok, Thailand, Tzu Chi volunteers invite the villagers of Hongsa to practice environmental conservation 1 day a week. For those who have to work, their neighbors gladly take on their share.
I have been reminding my neighbors to collect their recyclables at home. Since they can't personally make it today, we have carried their recyclables here.
The 68-year-old street peddler ferried everyone's recyclables to Tzu Chi's recycling station with her pedicab. She also asked her disabled son to join her. Another volunteer later, who is interested in massage, discovered an unwanted guidebook.
It is a very valuable book. Volunteers told me I can have it.
Finding new uses for unwanted resources. Through environmental conservation, Tzu Chi volunteers are teaching the villagers how to protect the environment with their own hands.
North Korea's Kim Jong-il was buried in Pyongyang yesterday with tens of thousands of mourners lining the streets. The untimely death of the dear leader cut short Tzu Chi's latest distribution of aid to the disaster-hit country. Before the announcement was made, there were happier scenes as volunteers handed out food to hungry villagers.
Yeah!
No rice bag is too heavy and no language barrier too wide for Tzu Chi volunteers, who make a rare impromptu visit to a North Korean villager's home. The underground store outside is for kimchi, the staple food to get villagers through winter. But most of this supply has been spoiled by the frost. The daily ration for North Koreans is 100 grams of grain, which is only for the working class. The adults may be able to live with hunger, but it's not so easy for the children. The daily meal that schools are required to give students has been cancelled by the food shortage, so Tzu Chi's aid has come just in time.
몇 살이세요? 12살. 반갑습니다. 솜? 예? 솜 받으셨어요? 예. 다행입니다.
A crumbling school roof repaired with slate and a collapsed wall show that education in North Korea needs more sustained investment. On this day, the 29th of December. During World War II, the German Air Force waged the campaign against Britain that lasted from July to December 1940. Every day, some 500 aircraft bombed major British cities, destroying countless buildings and infrastructure. Along with Germany's Berlin and China's Chongqing, London was one of the three most severely damaged cities in World War II. In 1999, 10 years into its establishment, the Tzu Chi Junior College of Nursing was upgraded to a 2-year technical college by Taiwan's Ministry of Education. On this day of the same year, Master Zheng Yan hosted the inauguration ceremony of the new college, which would become a cradle of nursing in East Taiwan. 27-year-old Vietnamese doctor Huang Qing-jun, who contracted acute myeloid leukemia, found a life-saving bone marrow match through the Tzu Chi Stem Cell Center. The physician underwent transplant surgery at National Taiwan University Hospital and was discharged on this day in 2005. Huang was Taiwan's first international bone marrow transplant case involving an unrelated donor. During his 9 months in Taiwan, Tzu Chi provided Huang with care and accommodation. Upon his return to Vietnam, Huang joined TEMA and actively promoted bone marrow donation. In China, Tzu Chi's annual winter relief distributions have already begun in some of the 13 provinces scheduled to receive aid. In Fujian's Xiamen, some 400 local volunteers underwent training in their communities, so they'll be ready when their turn comes. Meanwhile, in Guangdong Shenzhen, volunteers quickly compiled a distribution register for 5 provinces.
In Guangdong, China, Tzu Chi volunteers are quickly compiling the winter relief distribution registers for 5 provinces, working even on holidays.
What we are doing now is compiling a distribution list, so those on the receiving end will know what is coming to them. I'm very happy to be taking part in this. I'm glad that I can be of service to those in need.
Tzu Chi's annual winter relief distributions have already begun in some of the targeted 13 provinces in China. In Guangdong's Humen, Taiwanese businessmen and the local government are joining Tzu Chi in carrying out the good work.
Xinwan is one of the poorer areas of Humen. However, besides material supplies we provide, I'm more impressed with the spiritual support that Tzu Chi volunteers bring to those in need. It's truly unforgettable.
Though the supplies may be limited, our love is boundless, so let's all do the best we can.
In Fujian's Xiamen, distribution trainings are held in communities to help some 400 local volunteers get ready for the work ahead.
Those with patterns are for women, large sizes without patterns are for men.
Besides learning about the supplies being handed out, simulated distributions help volunteers learn their stations.
Now I'm more familiar with the distribution procedure and know what I should do. I'm very glad to be able to take part in the winter relief distribution. It's truly an honor. I'm very glad that there is a platform for us to share and contribute our love.
I am truly inspired. I need to become more compassionate to serve the disadvantaged.
Cherishing the opportunity to make a difference, people in China have come together to make this new year happier.
Poor residents in China's Quanzhou will also have a happier new year thanks to timely winter aid from Tzu Chi. Volunteers split into 7 teams to hand out supplies to 5,996 households of 7,112 people. One of the locations was a monastery. Because the nuns didn't have a car, the volunteers thoughtfully drove the heavy supplies to the temple. And one boss of an architecture company brought along his staff to help out at another distribution site. Wearing a volunteer vest, Yang Fu-ru is the boss of an architecture company. This is the 3rd year he has joined Tzu Chi's winter distribution in China's Fujian province. This time, he's brought along a dozen members of staff.
Some people probably have that kindness deep down inside. I want to introduce more people to Tzu Chi.
I'm very happy. It's very nice here.
Buddhist nun Master Ding Chan arrived early in the morning to pick up aid for 14 people at her monastery. Happiness and worry are written on her face because she does not have a car to take the heavy supplies home. Volunteers quickly come to the rescue. It takes several trips to carry over 20 bags of rice as well as cooking oil and blankets from the car to the monastery. Master Ding Chan, who was abandoned on the steps of the monastery 3 years after her birth, grew up here. Today there are 7 to 8 children like her living with the nuns. The nuns look after the abandoned babies like their own. Although life is not easy, the nuns still count their blessings. Apart from relying on donations, they also grow their own vegetables.
The monastery kitchen is very basic and lacking supplies. We can see the rice container. If I open it, it's almost at the bottom.
We usually cook rice porridge and sometimes only cook rice once every 2 to 3 days. Because when the children study, if they eat porridge, they say they get hungry.
The rice brought by Tzu Chi will help the nuns and children get by for the time being. But the doorstep delivery and personal attention mean more to them than the extra food.
When you said you delivered it, I thanked Master Zhenyan from the bottom of my heart and was very grateful to Da'ai for sending so much warmth and aid.
They only rely on 3 events a year to raise money to barely support these children. We wanted to make a connection with them.
At each annual winter distribution, Tzu Chi volunteers uncover more cases of hardship and provide long-term care and support to the needy. The volunteers vow to keep working for the poor until the end. Tzu Chi completed a winter aid distribution on Hainan Island last weekend. The Chinese island was ravaged by 2 typhoons in October, which brought down torrential rainfall and mudslides that affected over 1 million people. The The annual harvest was also hard hit as a result of the subsequent flooding. After some assessment work, Tzu Chi decided to hold distributions in 3 of the most needy towns. A total of 4,957 people from 3,778 households each received a 30-kilogram bag of rice, 2.5 litres of cooking oil and other daily essentials.
Situated in the south of China, Hainan Island Sanya is a popular destination choice for tourists. This year alone, it attracted some 510,000 tourists. However, on the other side of the island, one may wonder if this is also a part of Hainan. In Tenmai County's Ruixi town, residents live a completely different life.
给你一个围巾哈，来。这样有没有比较温暖？暖和暖和。
海王嚟嘅。哦，海王都嚟知噃。
With a scarf around his neck to keep him warm, 88-year-old Yang Ruzhu is all smiles. Grandpa Yang's right eye was injured a year ago and gets by on a government stipend of 150 renminbi a month. In October, Hainan experienced 2 typhoons, which brought torrential rainfall and mudslides, leaving over 1 million people in devastation. Subsequent flooding also led to a decrease in this year's harvest. After some assessment, Tzu Chi decided to hold distributions in the towns of Bohou, Dongying and Ruixi. Volunteers respectfully hand out relief supplies and also make sure those in line have something to eat. This is probably the happiest day of the year for these senior residents. Of the 4,957 people from 3,778 households, most of the care recipients are elderly people. Tzu Chi's aid supplies are like a New Year's present for many.
All our villagers really admire you Taiwanese people for your kindness and compassion. You bring us rice, cooking oil, clothes and blankets to give us warmth. Thank you very much.
Though the relief supplies may run out one day, rest assured, Tzu Chi's love will stay in the residents' hearts for years to come.
Finally today, at a training camp for Tzu Chi collegiate youths studying overseas in the United Kingdom, 16 university students were joined by 11 senior volunteers. The group brought some festive cheer to an old age people's home. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you for watching Daya Headlines. Goodbye.